On this episode of the Sweet Hometowns podcast, we will be interviewing our newest staff member, Shelley Paasch. Tune in. So we're very excited to welcome Shelley to our team. Main Street, Alabama now has 4 people running around the state, so be afraid. Excited to have her on board. She has a lot of experience with Main Street, so we'll start with Shelley just introducing herself and telling us a little bit about her background.
Hi, everybody. Glad you're here to listen. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Super excited to be here. Made it into town. It's been exciting. I think just the revitalization and the historic downtowns and doing the rehabbing of buildings and entrepreneurship and business development and all of those great things have kind of been in my forte for the last 20 years. Yeah. And it's been super exciting. I had the opportunity to work with Mary.
A long time ago.
We won't say how long, but
a while.
But it was so nice. And, just when you get into doing Main Street and all of the things that, the first year you're a director, you're like, I have no idea what's going on. And then you think maybe the second year I'll know, I'm kind of sort of knowing what I'm doing. So it's super exciting. The journey has taken me across various different leadership roles and state and regional things and opportunities. And so just a whole lot of stuff.
Well, what I think is coolest about Main Street is paths continue to cross, and you find unusual connections over time. True. So for me, I think just from my time with Main Street, Alabama, when I moved here in 2013, the connection of staff members that I've had over that time from wildly different backgrounds like Jennifer's to yours, which is you were a local Main Street program director, and you've done economic development, you've done all kinds of other stuff, to Mariah, who is also a local Main Street director. It's just it's how we can all work together and really take our experiences and talents to make the whole program better. I'm really excited about what we're doing with our strategic plan this year, and how we're able to tie in the skill sets of each of our team to make our program and our state better.
Well, it is interesting, too, how paths cross, right? So, like you were saying, Shelley was saying that you two, worked together, we won't say how many years ago.
A minute ago.
I met Mary and got the job opportunity through a friend of ours. So that we didn't even know we knew each other. Or that we all knew each other.
Yeah.
So
we had a common friend.
Yeah. So it's interesting how paths kind of cross. And, Mariah was a director, and she kind of came to us that way. So it is interesting how the paths cross, maybe more than once.
They really do. Mariah, in particular, is our other program development specialist. She actually went to the same college that I went to.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And got the same degree. So go Hornets, go Emporia State University Hornets. Many years apart, not at the same time. But
and I'm
Hornets.
the only one not from Kansas. Fun fact.
It's true.
Shelley's not originally from Kansas.
Not originally.
But spent some time there. So we're from all over.
Yeah.
But Jennifer, I would like you to talk. I know we've talked about it a little bit before, but she's
Surprise.
afraid. She should be afraid.
Surprise.
Your corporate background and how that ties into the things that we're doing now, because some people may not think that would translate. It's really translated well for us.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with the corporate background is just tying back to organization and processes. I think in any business, any company, no matter how big or small, you have to have processes that are followed. Otherwise, chaos ensues. And sometimes chaos is good. But in a lot of ways, when you're trying to run an organization, especially one that's as small as ours, with 3 people that are on the road and 1 person in the office, you've got to have organization and processes, which tie back to corporate America and green belt training and Six Sigma and all that fun stuff that I lived, breathed, and slept for over 20 years. But I do think that it does tie back. You have to kind of think about it a little bit differently, but I do think it all ties back together. I will say that corporate America was a lot less about the people side and more about just the number side and the organization side, where I've had to learn is to be more people-y. So, and I'm not really,
Good job.
I'm not really the people-y person in the group, but I'm learning to be more people-y and listen more and hear those family stories and stuff that in corporate America for over 20 years, you don't have time for any of that. And it's just not anything you want to know. So that's been a big thing, but I do think it has helped us in general get organized and start to kind of find our paths. And it's helped to identify holes that we need to get.
Absolutely.
Holes in the dam that need to be plugged with bubble gum.
Yeah, the workflow piece that both Mariah and Jennifer excel in, and Shelley also has a big part in the, we all did DISC assessments, personality stuff. Thank God I got people who do that kind of stuff, because I do other things. I have skills in other areas. I don't know what those are today, but I have skills in other areas. But it's how we tie it all together. So we're bringing on 2 new cities, and we needed to have, as Jennifer so succinctly put it, not everything can be in your head, Mary. It's a scary place for us to be. And you probably got a point. So really getting everything into a system and putting it into, programmable stuff that we can say, okay, we need to see this, just not Mary putting her eyes on it.
Yep.
And, when I first got here, that worked. But it doesn't work when you continue to grow with the rapid rate that we're growing. We're now at 36 designated communities, 35 networks, probably a few more coming on in August. So we're pretty busy, ladies, running around the state. So it's time to start putting processes to things. Yep. I remember when I was a local director, I just got a text from the former city manager in Emporia just last night. It's so weird because I just got something from, hello, Mark, if you're listening, sent me something. But he had told me, I was the 3rd Main Street director, and he goes, when we first started, we needed that rah-rah cheerleader person. And then, she stayed for 3 years, and she was great, but then we needed somebody with some business chops, and we had Dwayne for 3 years. And then we needed somebody who could do both. And I said, I'm not sure that, is that a compliment? I don't know. Who could understand the business side of things, but could still get people fired up. And I think that's the transition that I'm seeing now with Main Street Alabama. So when I first arrived, it was like, it's going to be great, because no one knew me.
I'll keep telling myself that.
It's going to be great.
Yes.
And it does take time, and you have to get to know people. And I got a little bit of it, but you're not from around here. I got a little bit of that. I don't get that much anymore. I was having dinner with a friend last night, and the waiter came over. She goes, "Where are you from?" And I go, "I'm from here." She goes, "Not originally." And I said, "Well, I'm originally from the Midwest." She goes, "But I hear that Alabama creeping in, so I'm feeling pretty good about things." But I feel like we're getting to that, the point of not throwing spaghetti against a wall, but how do we organize the spaghetti so it spells something, I guess.
We're definitely more settled. I think we are definitely becoming, I think in the past few years, we've become more settled as far as processes and understanding what we need to do, as opposed to just throwing it around, as you said, spaghetti or whatever, those little sticky dudes that run down the wall. You know what I'm talking about? I know, right?
Squirrel.
But I do think we're getting better. I do think we're finally getting to the point where I don't go to bed every night and have a bruise right here.
Why did I get myself into this crazy? But it is a people business. So pushing it back towards Shelley, who's very people-y.
I am very people-y.
That's good, because some of us are not.
I think it's really going to help our team. But she also has a very organized side to her. So I think it's going to be very helpful to the team to have that other relationship builder. So let's talk a little bit about the importance of connectivity and relationships in the communities and your experience with that.
Right. And I think just being able to discern the trust amongst the people that are there, and I get it because I'm not from here, and I've heard that. I mean, I did the same thing when I moved to Kansas, and I had moved from California to Kansas, and that's not even originally where I'm from. So I'm from everywhere. I'm from the world. I'm just loving life. So it is one of those that you just, if you can listen, just like you said, you have to listen and talk less and be able to just hear the stories. And sometimes these people just need to be heard. Yes. And that's the biggest thing. And getting them to trust you and having the relational side of things is just a wonderful opportunity. I don't know how, even just moving here recently, as we were walking in, my friend was like, we just got here. How do you already know? And I'm like, well, he's from here and he's done this. And they're like, what? I'm like, well, he held the door. I'm like, it's just one of those things you just,
You have to connect.
Yes.
And I think, just going back again to being a local director, and I had one business owner in my first couple of years that his difficult relationship, trying to build a relationship. And I finally just sat down with him and I said, I've tried everything. I said, I'm a nice person. I'm kind. I'm all these things. Why can't? And he didn't feel like people understood his background and his connections and his dedication to the community over time. Well, I didn't know any of that because I didn't really know him. So really taking that time, and after that, he became one of the biggest cheerleaders.
Right.
But he wasn't a person that you could have a round table. Wouldn't say a word. Right. But he'd be very vocal outside of it. Yikers. So I had to have that one-on-one connection meeting with him, saying, well, what can I do? So I think it's very important, and I try really hard. I grew up in a large family of 11 brothers and sisters, and trying to really understand other people's stories and where people came from, and you never really know what somebody might be carrying into a room. And entrepreneurs, it's tough. It's tough to be an entrepreneur in any environment. But it's you got to be brave, man. You got to be brave, and you got to have support. And sometimes you may not be able to solve all the problems in the world, but you should listen. And that's when we talk about corporate America, and we talk about what we do. We do a lot of listening. We do a lot. What I call couch time, when I'm on the road and I'm making phone calls, just talking to people, saying, do you have anything? I'm just listening to what you say, and let's figure out if we can move things forward. So Main Street is a very relational job.
100%.
And I think meeting people where they are, that's the biggest thing too. You had mentioned about the organizational side, and we are so fortunate. I mean, even when I was here in February and March and seeing, the incredible job that Jennifer does of keeping people on task, and
that's where she gets the bruise.
Exactly.
That's where I get the bruise right here.
And it is
she goes,
really
good. Don't pivot me today, Mary.
But being able to, as I am a very organized person as well, and having those things, it's nice to know that you can let that go just a little bit, to go, you have somebody professional and that's actually will not let things fall through the cracks, and, follow up with those things. So, and being able to, like we said, on the relational side, if you happen to have to give 2 or 3 hours to somebody because they're just not understanding the process, it's okay. It's a lot, but it's okay. I just love connecting with people. That seriously energizes me, and being able to go in somewhere and go, I know this about that person, this, or it's ask about the family or whatever it is. Just 2 minutes will all it take. Just giving that initial 2 or 3 hours that you needed to do initially, or an hour or 30 minutes. Some people are just like, blah, I'm going to tell you everything. So it is wonderful. I'm super thrilled to have the opportunity to work across the state, across the designated communities, across the network communities, and see the sustainability and the organizational and the entrepreneurial, just all of the things, just being able to just revitalize all of that and energize folks to, how we can offer the technical resources to them and maybe connect them in other ways.
Yes.
So yes, super exciting.
So Shelley brings great experience in how do we connect funding sources in some cases, but other pieces. So she and I are going to be working on a project, what I've been calling a capital stack. We need to come up with a cooler name than that. But how do you take
hamburger stack?
Hamburger stacks. How do you take?
Are you hungry? Are we hungry again?
Clearly.
We were talking about that.
Clearly.
We always have
We are
lunch
really
after
hungry.
this, so it's going to be good for us. We reward ourselves after the podcast. But how do you make pieces of a puzzle fit together that wouldn't fit together naturally?
Right.
And that, to me, that's capital stacking. So you may want to have historic tax credits on a project, but that may not work well with another piece of the puzzle.
Sure.
You got to figure out, and that's the kind of thing we try to help train our directors on. We need to make sure that we're up to date on it, but we're looking at building that out for 2 of our communities and really getting ourselves connected to that. And then, all the alphabet soups we were talking about. Lots of alphabet soup.
EDA. Yes.
TVA, ARC, DRA, all the different things and what they actually will how they can actually connect to a community, because not everybody is covered by everything. So that's a fun part of the job. It can be very technical.
It's very strategic for sure.
But it is something that as a local director, that would have been very helpful to me.
Yes.
If I had somebody else helping to research that and help me put the pieces together. It's not like we're going to go in and build the stack for them, but we're certainly going to provide a better puzzle than they currently have.
Yes, we might have more pieces to it. And I think that's where it comes to as well, is if I'm in a community and I'm the director and I'm getting these resources, as long as there's a plethora of resources that they can actually come back to and go, you know, this is going to work, that's going to work. And sometimes the storytelling of it and being able to put that all together, you know, say we offer them 15 different resources, maybe 6 of them are only going to work in that community, because regionally or districtly, however that, or if you have some of those state or federals that don't work together, but they want to work together, maybe we can facilitate that process to be able to say, hey, you know, Mary, state person, or Jennifer, federal person, can we talk about this closer and a little bit more in common? And so again, it comes down to the relational side, to being able to have that, where as a local director, it might be more challenging for them to turn around and...
Because you're doing 999
Right,
other
exactly.
things. I mean,
exactly. Not that we aren't, but
Right.
that's what we're here for.
Exactly.
That's what we're here for.
I clearly remember being a local director and starting your day out with a phone call from a business because somebody had done bad things in their doorstep the night before. What are you going to do about this? And I'm going, I'm not.
I don't own that building.
Okay, we need to think through
However,
this.
what
But I
can
had
we
to
do?
figure out how to deal with it. But then
Right.
you go from there to visiting with business owners, to facilitating a board meeting, to that evening presenting before the city commission. So it went from, you know,
So you also have to be so
sweatpants
flexible.
to a business
Yeah.
trip before the night
You have to be
was over.
so flexible, right? And that's
It's a
where
fun
Jennifer comes into that too, where she's like, you guys are giving me whiplash. Hold on just a minute, you know.
But it's very fun, and it can be a complicated job, but I want to remind everybody that Main Street is economic development. I think sometimes, because we do a lot of cool things, we talked about trails and we talked about, you know, all the different things, historic preservation, but it all comes back to economic development and how we help small business owners and communities make more money and be
Diversify
able to
their
diversify
entire
income.
district,
Yeah.
you know, and some districts that are more mature in that aspect, where they're a little bit further along to a newer, you know, then they have to find other ways to strategically, whether they're going to grow the district or, you know, bring in more or upper story living, however that looks. But yes.
Well, I do want to say that if you're interested in more about what Main Street Alabama does, or you're interested in some of the economic development and some of the other things we're doing, we are holding a conference down in Enterprise, Alabama in August. And so it will be the 19th and 20th of August. If you go to www.mainstreetalabama.org, it'll give you all the details to register for our Summit of Excellence, but it would be a great way for communities designated, not just somebody listening on the outside that may be interested in the alphabet soups, if you want to know what they all mean, to come in for a day and check out Enterprise. It's a cool little community, and kind of see what Main Street does, and kind of see what we do and how it ties with all our different people that we've had over the past couple months.
There's a lot of opportunities to get to know more about Main Street. We are right now working on a storytelling project in our community. So that's Jennifer's baby. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our storytelling.
Yeah, in conjunction with State Council on the Arts, Alabama State Council on the Arts, and Alabama Tourism, which we just had JoJo Terry on, we are doing a storytelling project within our communities where we're getting photos, maybe some drone footage of our communities, and those photos will go back into our communities to be used for them. They'll be used on our website. We're getting ready to refresh our website, and we're also going to be putting a lot of those photos out on our Sweet Hometowns.com website as well. So all those different things. Plus, we'll probably use some of those pictures for our backgrounds for the podcast and all the different things. So we're pretty excited about it. We're hoping to have that wrapped up before the conference in August. So.
Yeah, one of the big things we wanted to do on that was to make sure that we were using local photographers.
Yes,
so
100%.
We're connecting, again, it's Jennifer question, we're using 25 or 30 different photographers across the state.
Yeah, approximately 30.
Yeah. So it's very cool that, you're having Alabamians go in and take pictures of their own communities, but they're professional photography.
Yes.
So there's always a lot of moving parts with Main Street Alabama, but that's what makes it fun. It's never, never dull. Thrilled to have another person on the team to share all this fun with.
We are.
We're excited
I
to
am
have
full
Shelley
on
with us.
official. I have a name tag.
Well, you got yours way before Mariah got hers, so I'm sure I'll hear about that. Hi,
Sorry,
Mariah.
Mariah.
Hi, Mariah.
Hi.
We're sorry your name badge took so long, but we're thrilled to have Shelley on board, and I'm sure you'll see her on future podcasts. But most of the time, she's going to be on the road. But we'll cart her in when we can. But thank you so much for tuning in to today's, and thank you for
The big
making
move.
the trek and the big move. She's still unpacking stuff.
I
But,
am.
We're excited.
It's
to
like
have-
Christmas all the time, every day at my house right
I
now.
had no idea what was in this
I
box.
was like, what is that?
So, great. Well, thank you so much for your time, and tune in to our next Sweet Hometowns podcast. If you have questions that you would like to pose to us on maybe future episodes of the Sweet Hometowns podcast, just send those to info@mainstreetalabama.org.
You can learn more about Main Street Alabama and the Sweet Hometowns Initiative at sweethometowns.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates and episode highlights.
The Sweet Hometowns podcast is a production of Main Street Alabama in partnership with Video Visions Media Marketing.